So our next presenter is David Hart. He is the Vice President of MoCA Systems and the President-elect, is what it's called at PechaKucha. And you've been in charge of bringing most of the conference here, right? Okay.
Well, this is fast. So how do we do this?
I'll press forward right now. Okay. Just talk fast.
Okay.
All right. In 1955, I was born, and my parents, like many of your parents, were in search of the American dream, and they moved out to suburbia and tried to find that dream. And in that process, bought a home, settled down, and started raising their family. But over time, something has gone very, very wrong with suburbia. And we now find that we have built cities that are completely unwalkable. They're devastating to live in, and they are difficult to maneuver. And other things that have transpired are that some of the houses where we originally started thinking about small, relatively reasonable homes have exploded into homes of 25 and 35,000 square feet. Some of these homes are built along the Wasatch Front, and that they have, built this one home here, for example. Well, it's too late. Was for 3 people. And then cars, we've had to explode our cars and make them bigger and stronger and faster. And the one down below, if you can't take it with you, what are you going to do about it? And not only have cars gotten bigger and more powerful, but we have actually gone berserk. And we have fallen in love with cars that are so powerful and so big that even when we try to build a small car, we fill it with large wheels, or with motorcycles or bicycles have taken on these ridiculous things. So what does this lead us to? Traffic. And traffic, as you know, across the United States has gotten completely out of hand. You see parking lots that are filled with cars that look like freeways, but they're actually parking lots, especially if you're in Los Angeles, where cars literally stop dead in their tracks for periods of time. The car has become a design element for architects. We've done this as architects. We have created parking lots that just asphalt over virgin ground and usable ground to create places for our single individual cars to park. Because of heaven's sake, we would hate to join with other people. So what is the answer? Things have already started to change, and things have already started to migrate. Last year, my wife and I went out and decided that we were going to move away from our Suburban, and we bought a smart car. Because we felt like it was time to start thinking about straightening out our life. And so these little cars are now starting to come into our mantra, and we're starting to think more about these, and we're starting to realize what kind of a difference these can make in our lives. They, compared to some of those big vehicles, they're rather dangerous to drive because you can get squashed like a bug. But, they aren't too bad to drive. And it may help us with the obesity problem that America is going through, since I heard that last week we are now something like 33% overweight. The wonderful thing about these cars is you can park 2 in one parking spot. A few years when we were in Italy, we noticed that instead of parking parallel, the Italians would just pull in straight in with these cars. And the wonderful thing is that we're starting now to think about new ways of parking. These are new parking options, and I think that they are starting to lead us in a direction that is really going to help us understand how to move forward with regards to parking and utilizing vehicles and moving forward. The other thing that a lot of other countries have figured out, but we're still trying to understand, is how to live and go to work and play on a bicycle. The things about bicycles and moving around. My wife and I, again, have recently just started using a bike, and we own a little home here in Park City, and we have discovered the trail system in Park City. The other thing is that the experimentation of new personal vehicles, if we are so convinced that we're going to not share with anybody, then maybe it's best that we find a way to allow ourselves individually to commute in these smaller, more simple vehicles. And so maybe the future is in those. With regards to bicycles, we're starting to see all over the country, in other countries, we're seeing signs that are dealing more with bicycles and changing the whole paradigm of automobiles and moving towards bicycles with regards to stop signs. Parking structures are being designed for bicycles, and I'm assuming that you can probably get 10 or 20 to 1 bicycles in one typical car stall, or maybe 50 to 1 if you put it into a suburban parking stall. Or you can hang it on a tree, or you can park it around. This is the new Union Station bike transit, and I don't know if you've seen it, but a few months ago when we were in Washington, D.C., I noticed that they had opened this, and it's getting rave reviews, and people are using it, and it's really quite a beautiful structure. So, the other thing we're starting to see is more and more bike paths. Salt Lake County has recently spent a lot of time and energy working with Salt Lake City and other cities within the valley, putting together a bike path that, and a series of bike paths that bicyclists are no longer in too much danger. And so the question then comes down to, what does the future look like, or what should it look like? And how should we try to transform these large areas of suburban landscape into areas that are more livable and more enjoyable? What is our preferred future? In